Welcome to M&tM Machines, the War Machine Hordes show that, judging by how dedicated I am to keeping my promises regarding new battle reports, would probably be running for Senate if this was politics.
And it had the worst April Fools too.
That being said, tonight we're bringing you another special report, which was a tourney preparation game, and afterwards the tourney we were preparing for. This game, which is special in 3 ways. First, it's dwarf on dwarf action, Seer Forge Ossrum versus 4-star Gorten. Second, we're playing with the rage gauge in effect. And third, this is Shot Machine. Enjoy! Alright, the special rules first. Shot Machine works like this. Get booze, prepare shots. Whenever your opponent made a roll and you dislike the result, you may drink a shot. Your opponent then has to re-roll that roll unless he drinks a shot too. The rage gauge works like this. Whenever you roll a 1, miss it to hit roll by 1, or roll damage that meets the model's armor, you gain 1 rage point. When you roll all 1s, you gain rage points twice the number of 1s. Instead of making a dice roll, you may expend any number of rage points and your result becomes the number expended. However, you must have been physically able to achieve that result, so no 1s and 2s on 3d6 or 13s on 2d6. The game size is 50 points and the scenario played is from 2012, Restoration. I'm fielding Gorten Grundback with a 4-star mercenary assembly, and Fiona, that is how we've been dubbing Kushinada since the end of last year, plays Ossrum with a Seer Forge list that we more or less designed for this scenario. But she's new to Ossrum, so this was a learning experience for her.
Indeed.
What did you bring?
I played General Ossrum, 2 gunners, 1 blaster, not 1 but 2 drillers, and an avalancher. For troops I had a full unit of Forge Guard, a full Ogren Assault Corps, a Hogenholt Artillery Corps, a Bow Corps that chose Ossrum as his client, and Lord John Rockbottom.
I, on the other hand, had Gorten Grundback, and since we were out of drillers, went with nothing but 3 gunners. I brought a full unit of Kayasi Assassins with Underboss, 2 units of Kayasi Eliminators, a minimum unit of Devil Dogs, Ernie and John, Blythe and Bull, Thor Steinhammer with a Basher, Rupert Cavolo, Gudrun the Wanderer, and... oh, the Dracoon is a stand-in for Epic Alexia, which is a model that consists of 1,500 pieces, so yeah. So, since you won the roll-off, why don't you take us through your turns?
I allocated a focus each to the heavies which ran, as did all my infantry. The bunnies just advanced, then Ossrum cast Bullet Dodger on himself, advanced, and cast Energizer for 1 inch.
My first turn was about as thrilling, everything ran. Except for Gorten, who threw out solid ground to protect his Kayasi liabilities, and then charged Ossrum. And that was round 1.
I think we can reduce my second turn to the result that I actually only killed 1 Devil Dog and run models at you.
In hindsight, just going by the picture, that would have been a suitable time to pop your feet.
Maybe, but I choose not to. What's the marker by my objective?
That looks like a killbox reminder. In my second turn, I let my forces drop into yours. Gorten drops solid ground. The underboss pops Killstroke, and my Kayasi dash off killing stuff. Mostly the Forge Guard, that is. The Boker and an Ogren Assault Corps member. Gudrun charges the Forge Guard too, but I think he flubbed on the Berserk attack damage roll. Thor tunes and drives the Basher, which then slams the Driller over some Forge Guard into the Gunner, causing severe damage.
Don't forget that afterwards, Alexia rode up, cast a Hellfire at my troops, but since they were engaged with your Kayasi, she missed, and hit an assassin instead, and that your knife-wielding thugs decided to wet their pants in turn.
Yeah, I had almost forgotten. Stupid Kayasi. On the left side, the Devil Dogs charged, or ran, the Eliminators charged. Where's that other Eliminator unit gone off to anyway? And more damage was put on your Jacks, even though it wasn't much to my memory. Gorten moves up and rock waltz. And again, that's the round.
Let's see. I must have given a focus to the painted driller and some more to the bunnies. Ossrum dropped Bullet Dodger, activated, popped his feet, staying where he was. The Avalancher then put a round into your objective, the gunners too, and then the Forge Guard got the charge order, one of them even making it to Gorten.
As far as I remember, he either missed or did no damage worth mentioning.
Which is not important, because the other one destroyed your objective, and one wounded John, and the last one missed Gudrun. Then the driller trampled over 3 devil dogs. The Ogren Assault Corps killed a Kayazi, I think, and also contributed to your objective's destruction. I guess I scored a point then, since my driller is in the zone and you're not contesting.
I guess so. Looking at my turn's picture, I'm confused about what happened, which is a pretty good indicator that Gorten feated. Yeah, he did. But I feel like we're missing a picture. There are Kayazi missing, but they couldn't have moved anywhere because they only rallied this turn. And why is that Basher so far to the left? Gorten must have feated in the general direction of your table edge.
Psst, it's your Basher. And your turn. It moved to flag field the Forge Guard, which didn't work.
Oh, right. All those dwarf models have me confused. The gist of the turn is Alexia, Gudrun and Eliminators gang up on the driller, take it out. The other Eliminators ransack your backfield models. The Devil Dogs move to contest and shoot. Some more Forge Guard die, but I do not achieve too much. Gorten feeds, pushing your models back, but the zone is not cleared because the driller was too far forward. Not that that was necessary, the main point is that you won't score again. End of round.
In my turn, most models shamble onward, while others fail miserably. I'm looking at you, Blaster, for not clearing those devil dogs out, even with aiming. And on the other hand, Rockbottom set some Kayazi on fire with his flame belcher. That was a warm welcome. And the one Forge Guard that actually managed to damage your Basher.
Indeed. I'm still thinking about how I went about my turn then. Oh yeah, I went for the assassination by softening up Ossrum with powerful gunner shots, then killed a gunner and a lot of Ogren Assault Corps with the Kayazi. Then Thor drove the Basher, who then slammed for free and hit rock bottom.
Which is, by the way, the worst pun ever made.
Maybe. Thank you. At any rate, my lone eliminator charged Ossrum, hit with the combo strike, and took him down with a suitable damage roll, which means that Gorten wins! In hindsight, my force was very ragtag, and played like it too, but it was fun. Blythe and Bull got no showtime, but I guess that happens. Thor's a beast of a Jack Marshal. Too bad you can't have him under Ossrum driving Jacks, unless you're playing Gorten without him, which could work, but only under a different contract. With those being my VUP and VIP, I guess my biggest fail was firing that Hellfire. I certainly could have chosen a better target for that. As to changes for the list, maybe Prime Alexia would have been better with all that infantry, dropping Blythe and Bull to then max out the Devil Dogs.
I seriously can't remember enough to make any valid statements. The Forge Guard did well enough. That Blaster was disappointing, but that was due to his dice. I don't have enough experience with Ossrum. The list is probably good the way it currently is.
Thanks for the insights. And now, on to the rest of the program. Right, in this issue of the Faded Black T-shirt, I'll cover my participation in the War Machine event called Bonn's Cantina Games. Its first installment, that is. Let me elaborate a bit on the event itself before we delve into the War Machine part. Originally, what is now the Cantina Games started as a Warhammer Fantasy tournament, one of the biggest in the FROG, I dare say, with up to 100 participants, at least for one time. This was possible since the location's administration did not mind strange folk with tin and plastic figures gathering on days when none of the regular company workers were present. As time progressed, however, the contact person for the location was relocated to the current capital and we lost access to the Cantina. Come the beginning of this year, however, that is 2012, however, a person from the gaming community was designated dude in charge of the location again, briefly said. And since it was quite utopian to pick up the event where it was left behind, especially with a lot of players being unsatisfied with 8th edition, the concept was redesigned to incorporate different systems. Therefore, and now we'll be talking with pictures, we had Warhammer Fantasy, the main tournament event. We also had Fields of Glory, but they were simply around to play, not for playing a tournament. They did bring booze though. We also had a very small Malifaux tournament with 4 players, with all their beautiful tables and terrain. Here's some close-ups. The War Machine event mustered 14 players, most of them from Koblenz, with Aridas and me being Bonn's main representatives. The games were 35 points each, 3 lists, that is 1 and 2 optional ones. Scenarios were Incursion, Command and Control, and Overrun. My lists were Zerkova's Hunting Wolves, an Irusk Infantry Spam, and a Vladimir Experienced Infantry Spam. So this is round 1. As we're playing Incursion, I'm dead set on Zerkova from the get-go. I go up against Severius. Protectorate. Most likely the only matchup I hate in this regard. Irusk would have been the better choice, hands down. Nonetheless, I was zeroing in for the scenario win and deployed in my highly aggressive manner, with the Spriggan ready to push Zerkova, Kayazi to charge up as well. As the next picture shows, I get to execute my turn almost perfectly, but in his first turn, he does the right thing in running the errands further up. But even though my Widowmaker snipe off the Blessings Arknote, I catch most of his army in my feet, and I catch most of my army in my feet, that ridiculous avatar wins the game for him, or rather, that idiotic gaze of Manoth. It was still a good game, and I made some other mistakes as well. A Vanguard, for example, is certainly enough for a push attack, and some such. On to round 2, and I think that now I get to face the bottom half of the attendance, the Cool Kids Club. Turns out the guys that were originally considered to be favorites lost. And now I get to play against one of them, who is, at the time of this airing, German champion. Legion of Everblight, to boot. I chose Commandant Irusk because I remembered A. A lot of infantry is good against hordes, and B. Irusk is quite a good choice against Legion. The choice wasn't that bad. My opponent picked Prime Lilith. But there may be some things you can already see by this picture during turn 2. Irusk is on the right side of the forest, with the right flank quite open, that is, only Ivan and the Eliminators being there, and Raptors on that side too. The scenario is command and control, by the way, so it's no real surprise that it ended with Raptors flanking in and shooting Irusk down. This one I basically lost at deployment. Had I put him on the other side of the forest, I could have gone to score from the bottom flag and cover any Legion routes with my infantry. In the meantime, it went quite well though. I did do the run to engage with the Kayazi, mini feed double move with the pikeman, had Iron Flesh on the pikeman and feed it. I did pretty much jam him out of the zone. I just failed to kill one last model next turn to at least score a single control point. With 2 losses, I am kinda anticipating the opportunity to finally score a win and end the tourney on a positive note. When I figured out my opponent, however, I was not too much into happy anticipation anymore. My opponent goes by the nick of Kriegsnoob and is one of the best national players this region has to offer. That is, beside the guy I played last round. If I were to win this match, I could drop out of the game happily, or something like that. At least my opponent wasn't playing Kriegs, but mercenaries. Ashlyn, Shay, and Damiano all to tier 4. But it still wasn't going to be easy. We agreed that we both would pick our currently unplayed list, which ended up in pitting Damiano and the Steelheads versus Vladimir and the Kayazi. It turned out to be a very interesting match. On my second turn, my Doom Reavers were dead and the Kayazi found home in his army. I thought it a great turn because each time a Kayazi attacked, a Steelhead died. And were it not for Harlan Fish-Eye Verge missing a multiplier against a death-marched Halberdiers unit, I would have killed them all, and not left 2 alive, which subsequently gave flanking bonuses to the cavalry, which killed Epic Vlad. Our post-game analysis was that even though I had, 17 stealth models, I still mainly lost to the Steelhead Rifleman, a shooting unit. My opponent suggested something really out of the line. Instead of running the Doom Reavers up and in front, placed them in the back. Especially with a scenario such as Overrun, which we played, where you can have the enemy come to you. Send out the Kayazi in front, where they'd be safe from shooting till you engage, and keep the Doom Reavers back as feed targets. Vladimir's command of 9, maybe backed up by Madeline, should keep everyone around. I'm so trying that out. And that almost concludes my coverage of Bonn's first Cantina games. My final standing was second to last. The only one that was even more of a peace poppy, aka victory point non-scorer at that tournament, was my brother, who had his efforts rewarded with a Colossals book that fell off a truck. Awesome. Let me wrap this up by once again thanking all my opponents and the tournament, as well as the event organizers. That it was great. As for next issue, I don't even know what I got for a report. And since it's already 2013, how's about I wrap up all remaining tournaments of last year and probably this year, up to the point of the airing, into one issue so you don't get bored by all my past failings. We will see. And until then, farewell.